So I'm going to talk to you about volunteering in the carbon landscape and a bit of an update so far since July and other opportunities that we've got available. People and nature. So far you've heard all about why we restore landscapes, some of the big projects that's happening within the carbon landscape, and I'm going to talk to you about how connecting the carbon landscape sites and making sure wildlife has a future is a job for everybody really, and we're all here because we share that sort of affinity of nature, and we're all involved in this in one way or another. Simple fact is, without community groups, local wildlife groups and volunteers, the landscape wouldn't be as healthy, green and lovely as it is today. So since starting in July, we've managed to recruit 90 volunteers. We've got one work placement so far. Andy, are you still here? Yeah, Andy Laverick, and we're recruiting more. We have 11 landscape champions, which we introduced to you earlier on. We've trained over 70 people, and we've enhanced over 40 hectares as a direct result of volunteer activity. So that's all in 9 months, so there's more of this to come. You can see volunteers have already started to make a massive difference to our landscape. And through volunteering their time and effort to many of the amazing projects that are existing in the carbon landscape, more projects to come. So I'd like to start by saying a massive thanks to volunteers. You are truly the protectors of our landscape. So ways in how we support our volunteers. So to start off with, our volunteers have the opportunity to access a variety of internationally important habitats. So there's not just one place you can volunteer in the carbon landscape, there's so many different places, there's so much going on and so many amazing sites. So that's the first thing we do. We try and encourage our volunteers to experience different sites and not really stick to one site in particular. Our goal is to work together with local community groups and volunteers to ensure that wildlife has a future in the carbon landscape. That's our main goal. We offer a huge variety of opportunities, developing new skills and knowledge. All our volunteers enter into our rewards and recognition package, which includes loads of free training courses, work placement opportunities, and then the chance to become a landscape champion and take on that little bit more responsibility. And I'll talk a little bit more about landscape champions shortly. So here's just a couple of examples of conservation volunteering. So on the left there, we are clearing birch off little Walden moss, which anyone with a bit of experience has been out on a mossland. This just seems like it's a task that'll never end, but unfortunately the birch keeps coming back and keeps trying to turn sites into woodlands, so that needs clearing. On the right here we've got Bickershaw Country Park. Hamish gave me a couple of slides just to show that his volunteers there opening up patches of grassland to increase the biodiversity of the site, and then enhancing their woodland corridor at the bottom right there to increase the connectivity of the woodland species. So aside from conservation volunteering, I just thought we'd talk a little bit about other groups that we connect with. So nature enthusiasts, asylum seekers, refugees, retired people, English as a second language students, people living with disabilities. We've got opportunities for all to get involved in. And we aim to create over 1,000 opportunities throughout the life of the project, and I really think that we'll probably smash that target. The way things are going at the moment, we've been out doing all sorts of stuff. I'll just give you a quick example of a couple of things. So here we have some English as second language students from Bolton College. they, they strayed off the beaten path on Astley Moss and got really wet, surprisingly. And here they are showing great teamwork in helping each other dry their feet off. Another group we've worked with on Little Waldemar are the Princess Park volunteers, a group of volunteers that are all living with disabilities, and they've kindly agreed to propagate plants for us to be reintroduced back onto the mosslands. So they're growing heather and I think sphagnum mosses, and they came out to help us plant loads of crossleaf heath onto Little Walden Moss, which sort of ties in with what Dave was talking about earlier on with the reintroduction of the large heath butterfly. This is just one way of us trying to make sure these sites are ready for possible reintroductions in the future. Crossleaf heath is the adult food source, so it's the nectar source for the butterfly. So by planting that, we're making sure our sites can at least feed these butterflies. So I think, as I mentioned, we trained over 70 people so far since July. We've got lots of different training courses available on the Carbon Landscape. So yeah, I mean, here's just a list of a few, really. Accredited entry-level training, AQAs. We're delivering AQAs in peatland conservation, grassland conservation, wetland conservation. These are a way in for people to get involved in conservation, really. They're not only that, but will enable people to understand more about the sites that they're passionate about, and then they can work towards helping conserve them into the future. We've delivered willow weaving workshops, outdoor first aid, citizen science project that Steve's just talked to you about, and then another quite good one, I think, interview and application writing training, especially valuable training course for anyone pursuing a career in conservation, really, because that's a skill in itself, writing an application form and trying to hold it down at an interview. It's a tricky thing. That was just last week, and I think about 15 people came along to that. So we've got trainees and work placement opportunities. So each year we have 3 trainees. The traineeships last for 9 months. They're paid traineeships. Brilliant for moving from volunteering to employment. The trainees build portfolios. They help us deliver the project, really. The 3 trainees that we had this year, 2 have already gone on to get jobs and left us early. So Tall Mike. We've got 2 Mikes. So Tall Mike moved on to, he's now the Merseyside Reserves Officer for the Lancashire Wildlife Trust, and Bird Mike is now working on the Chat Moss project in Salford. So we've just got one Katie, so she's just called Katie, and she's in the middle of applying for loads of jobs, and she's had loads of interviews, so fingers crossed she's going to get something as well. So you've done well, Becky. Becky's our trainee coordinator. Work placements, we've got long-term work placements to support the restoration projects and the partners delivering their restoration projects. The job role's just been advertised now, and we'll be recruiting our first long-term placement student hopefully within the next few months. Short-term placements like what Andy's on, basically you can pick your time frame, you can pick the subjects, you can pick the partners you want to get involved with. It's really up to you how you want to tailor that short-term work placement, and it's just a way of us working with people to try and get the best out of the project and help steer them in the right direction to wherever they're going with their careers, really. So, Landscape Champions. We were going to do the announcement of the Landscape Champions after this talk, but we've obviously moved things around a little bit. So I won't say too much more about Landscape Champions, except they're just awesome people that we've chosen this time round. You're all champions in this room, you know. That's basically it, really. So congratulations, everyone, for being a champion. You're brilliant. Lots of networking opportunities for our volunteers. All the stuff that Lydia's just mentioned, all the landscape champion walks and things like that, fantastic ways for us all to meet up and mingle. Days like today, you know, I'm sure we've all met somebody new today, and you know, it's a great way to sort of meet like-minded people and discuss similar things and all work towards that common goal. Volunteer field trips, so that's part of our rewards and recognition for volunteers, is to get people out on field trips to enjoy different sites, not necessarily just sites within the carbon landscape. The first volunteer field trip we ran was actually on the Sefton coast. It was just a way of our volunteers to sort of meet each other, but us as well, because you know, you register as a volunteer. My name is just there on the registration form, and then you might never get to meet me or anyone else that's in the team. So it's a great way for us all to meet each other. We went to Sefton just because it's absolutely amazing to see wintering birds. And I was poorly, unfortunately, so it was Becky and Steve took the reins that day, and apparently it went down really well. So landscape champion away days, these walks that Lydia's just mentioned are going to be brilliant. We're really looking forward to them. And volunteer exchange visits. So we get to do it, but we're hoping to take a volunteer group from an existing project site to another site and vice versa, and that way sort of connect our volunteers like we're trying to connect our sites for wildlife. So. Other partners and events out there delivering amazing things. Miranda is over there. So Miranda's from City of Trees. It's just an example of one of our partners going out delivering. What have you done, Miranda? You have delivered a bird spotting at Little Walden and a Santa Dash. Nope, you've done identifying little mammals of Little Waldemar and craft activity with Oakwood Academy. So that was 12 people benefited, 16 to 18-year-olds with learning difficulties. And did you have a good day?
It's very much a partnership approach. I think Sandy's in the room and Jenny's in the room. We all work together, don't we, to try and make interesting opportunities.
Brilliant. So there's lots of stuff going on. We're working with local artists. This bench on Little Waldemar is an example of local art. It's a little bit blurry, the image, but it displays our affiliation with the large heath butterfly, and that's right smack bang in Little Walden. So if you'd like to visit the site for the site, not the bench, but the bench is lovely. And just a couple of images of other events that have taken place on some of the sites. Connecting with the young ones of the landscape is vitally important. So getting that message across at such a young age is something that I would have absolutely loved to have had growing up in a proper urban environment. And you know, the more younger people we can connect with, the better. They'll just continue with that message through into adulthood, and hopefully things are going to change for the better. Jumping for joy on Little Waldemar. When was the last time you jumped for joy? So, you know, it's a success story so far, and we hope to continue this on into the future. And with your help, I'm sure we will. So, if you are not involved in volunteering, if you think you know someone that could potentially be interested in it, or you are yourself, there's some leaflets dotted around. I'm here today for the rest of the day. You can find us on our website. Just get in touch, and we can take it from there. So thank you very much.